Hello and welcome. Now the latest on the health of jailed former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. A board of doctors examined Sharif and decided to keep him inside Adiala jail for now. He's been shifted for the time being to the hospital inside the jail. A decision to shift him out will be taken after his reports come in. Sources told WION that Sharif's health was deteriorating and his sugar level was rising alarmingly. Sharif's personal doctor had earlier advised Adiala Jail administration to move Sharif to a hospital outside at the earliest. His heartbeat was said to be irregular due to dehydration. It was being said that the presence of urea in his blood might affect his kidneys as well.
I will not leave without my doctor. This is extremely unfair. It is inhuman, or everyone knows what kind of medical condition he has gone through in the past.
And my colleague Anas Malik joins me live from Pakistan. Anas, good evening. How is Nawaz Sharif doing as we speak?
Well, absolutely, Ramesh. As you mentioned, he's not doing very well since yesterday. Just today, we saw a four-member doctors team, a medical board of the Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences. They were sent to the Adiala jail. They had a 5-hour-long inspection of Nawaz Sharif. Just yesterday, another four-member team of the Rawalpindi Institute of Cardiology was called in on emergency basis after Nawaz Sharif was not feeling well. He had been sick, and Rawalpindi Institute of Cardiology. A second medical board was constituted by the Punjab government that was led by Dr. Shaji Siddiqui, which actually examined Nawaz Sharif for over 5 hours in the Adiala jail, and they've come to the conclusion that they will not be shifting Nawaz Sharif to the jail, to the hospital immediately. Instead, he's been moved out of his jail cell and to the jail hospital that is inside the Adiala jail. What we're picking up is that another ecography of Nawaz Sharif is to be done tomorrow by the same medical board of PIMS. His ECG was done as well today, and some more tests were done, reports of which are awaited. However, a final test, that is the ecography, that will be done tomorrow inside the Adiala jail, and after which a final decision to whether or not move him out of the Adiala jail to a hospital will then be taken. Yes, Ramesh.
Right, Anas, I want to come to you one more time before I let you go. Now, today is the last day of campaigning in Pakistan. What are the principal actors, namely Imran Khan, Shahbaz Sharif and Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, doing? Where are they now and what are they up to?
Well, Imran Khan was last night. He was in Karachi. He's due to hold a big gathering in Lahore in a while from now. Shahbaz Sharif is to come to Islamabad around 8 p.m. local time, and the same case is with Bilawal as well. He had been campaigning earlier in the day in interior Sindh, and he's due in Karachi, where they're likely to hold a big gathering. Right behind me, as you can see, is the Parliament of Pakistan, where all of them will convene after the elections are held, and it will be very interesting to see who will be forming the government, because what is interesting to note that Bilawal is not eligible for the prime ministership. The chairperson of the Pakistan People's Party is not eligible to be the prime minister of Pakistan as per his age. However, the PMLN has gone out in the open. They've named Shahbaz Sharif, if they come into power, as their prime minister, whereas for the PTI it will be Imran Khan if the PTI manages to come into power. So it will be a really interesting scenario, because there are over and above 11,000 candidates, precisely 11,859 candidates who are contesting on over 849 seats. That includes the provincial and general and national seats. On the National Assembly seats, about 272, which are through direct.
I'm afraid we lost that link with Anas Malik in Islamabad. On that note, Anas, thank you so much for joining me on WION Dispatch. Appreciate it. Now, talking about Imran Khan, the Khan has slammed the critics of the army and for accusing it of rigging the elections. Indirectly pointing at Nawaz Sharif's PMLN, Imran Khan said that those who were experts in rigging election are now blaming the Pakistani army for the same. Imran Khan's remarks come amid allegations that Pakistani army is working to favour his party, the PTI, in the elections. Imran Khan has also been accused of pandering to Islamist and terrorist leaders ahead of the 25 July elections. Earlier this month, the Al-Qaeda-linked Harkatul Mujahideen terror group announced its support for Khan's party with pictures of the US-designated group's leader posing with PTI hopefuls. On Sunday, a large number of Sharif supporters shouted ISI Murdabad near Pakistani army headquarters, alleging elections were fixed by the ISI. These protests took place outside the drug court, where a PMLN leader was awarded life imprisonment.
जो इंटरनेशनल मीडिया इंटरनेशनल एस्टेब्लिशमेंट के इशारे पे चलता है, हिंदुस्तान का मीडिया और यहां की वो जमातें जो रिगिंग के एक्सपर्ट्स रही हैं, शुरू हो गए हैं कि जनाब इलेक्शन में फौज रिगिंग करवा रही है। उनके पास अपनी हिफाजत करने के लिए फौज नहीं थी। उनके हाल देखें, सोमालिया से शुरू हो, जो एक ऊपर से लेके जाए, एक एक मुल्क की तबाही, सीरिया, सारे मुसलमान मुल्क में खून ही खून हो रहा है। हम तो शुक्र करें कि हमारे पास ताकतवर फौज है, नहीं तो आज इस मुल्क के 4 हिस्से हो चुके होते।
Now, Imran Khan's statement comes at a time when he is being seen as the army's favourite. In fact, many see him as Nawaz Sharif 2.0. Remember, in the 1980s, Nawaz Sharif was a favourite of the army generals. His political career was, in fact, shaped by military dictator Zia-ul Haq. Sharif's prime ministership ended in 1999 when he sacked his army chief, General Pervez Musharraf, swiftly engineered a coup and packed him off to 14 months in jail. Sharif spent long years in exile overseas before returning home and being re-elected in 2013. He was ousted from power by a Supreme Court ruling last year. Ironically, he is now positioning himself as a defender of democracy against the military. Now, moving on, the Election Commission of Pakistan has clarified that it has not granted magisterial powers to the armed forces personnel on poll duty. The poll panel has clarified that the army is only being stationed to ensure free and fair elections. Earlier, the Election Commission had drawn criticism from the Senate over its decision to grant broad judicial powers to the military at polling stations. In a detailed response, the Electoral Commission said that troops will be deployed under the Elections Act 2017 and would perform duties in line with the poll code. Now, he's being spoken about as the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. Opinion polls say that his party, Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf, may win the maximum number of seats in Wednesday's elections. Now, his main rival, Nawaz Sharif, is in jail, but is projected to give him a tough fight. Imran Khan is clearly the most sought-after leader in Pakistan today. In his latest interview, the cricketer-turned-politician opens up about his agenda, his relationship with the military, and possible position towards India if he comes to power. Take a look.
What do you respond to allegations that we've been reading for the past weeks that you are supported by the army and the security agencies of Pakistan?
The same allegations existed before 2013 election. When PTI burst into the public with these massive rallies and crowds. Again, we had, that ISI was supporting PTI. But when it turned out, the 2000 election were all the players were supporting the Sharif party, including the establishment. And this all came out because we then did a protest on the rigged elections. And when the hearing took place in the Supreme Court, one of the things that came out was the establishment supporting PMLN. So now what is happening is that first time PMLN is not being supported by the establishment. PML was nurtured, born in the lap of a military dictator. Nawaz Sharif was the protege of General Zia. He picked up a businessman and made him into a politician. Then ISI backed him in 1990, and there's a Supreme Court case where the ISI chief said we paid money to PMLN, Nawaz Sharif. Then in 97 they were backed by the establishment. Then in 2013 they were backed. So this time, they are not backed by the establishment. And on top of it, the corruption cases of Nawaz Sharif, he's always got away with corruption cases. There have been corruption cases against him past 20 years. This time, neither the Supreme Court allowed him to get away with it, and the two brigadiers in the JIT, which was formed to investigate Sharif's corruption, neither did they succumb to pressure of Nawaz Sharif. So it's the first time he has not been helped either by the Supreme Court or the army. Previously it was, because this Asghar Khan case in 1990, where he took money from ISI and won the elections against Benazir Bhutto in 1990, no one heard the case for 20 years because he's too powerful. But this time, his main grouse is that the establishment did not help him. And he's attacking the military and the Supreme Court and saying that, they are against me, because he's working from the George Bush saying, either you're with me or against me. So he wanted his own umpires, and this time he's not got them.
So you're saying the ISI doesn't have at all a political role in this election?
ISI would have a political role as much as it would have in any elections. But to say that PTI has been supported is going against, if you look around in the public, the only party that is drawing massive crowds is PTI. The only party that is actually going out in public and people are supporting it is PTI. So if democracy is people, then people are supporting PTI. All opinion polls show that PTI has gone up. And so to blame our success on being backed by the military is just nonsense.
Meanwhile, Imran Khan has said that his marriage to Reham Khan was the biggest mistake of his life. Now, these are Imran's rare remarks about his past marriage with the former TV show host Reham. In an interview with Daily Mail of the UK, Imran said, and I quote, "Normally, I don't say anything about Reham, but I will say this. I have made some mistakes in my life, but my second marriage has to be the biggest," unquote. Imran Khan also revealed that he did not see his third wife, Bushra Menaka's face, till after they got married. All right, moving on. German footballer Mesut Ozil has announced his retirement from the national team with immediate effect, citing racism and lashing out at the president of the German Football Federation. Ozil was heavily criticized along with his fellow mate Ayke Gundogan as they posed for a photograph with Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan at a charity event in the month of May. Ozil, who has Turkish roots himself, posted a lengthy statement defending his meeting with Erdogan and criticized German media for politicizing the entire episode. The Arsenal midfielder in his statement said, and I quote, "For me, having a picture with President Erdogan wasn't about politics or elections. It was about me respecting the highest office of my family's country," unquote. He also said, "My job is a football player and not a politician, and our meeting was not an endorsement of any policies. The treatment I have received from the DFB and many others makes me no longer want to wear the German national team shirt. I feel unwanted and think what I have achieved since my international debut in 2009 has been forgotten," unquote. Now, making direct reference to Reinhard Grindel, president of the German Football Association, Ozil said, and again I quote, "People with racially discriminative backgrounds should not be allowed to work in the largest football federation in the world that has players from dual heritage families. Attitudes like theirs simply do not reflect the players they supposedly represent. In the eyes of Grindel and his supporters, I am German when we win, but I'm an immigrant when we lose," unquote. Now, since his debut in 2009, Ozil has played 92 games for his country, scoring 23 goals, and was also part of the 2014 FIFA World Cup squad. And earlier, we spoke to WION's correspondent in Berlin, Ira Spitzer, for more of the story. Listen in.
The controversy over Mesut Ozil seems to have only intensified a day after the dramatic announcement that one of Germany's best footballers was stepping down from the national team as he made allegations of racism against the federation as well as some members of the German media. And the opinion here seems to be really divided. still over exactly what happened. You did have some statements of support from some high-profile politicians as well as the media for Özal, saying that his allegations of racism were well-founded, that it was quite an overreaction to the picture that he took with Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and to blame him to some extent for Germany's disappointing performance really reflected badly on German society. But on the other hand, you still had some who would not let the issue go, who said it was good that he left the national team, including the president of Bayern Munich, Germany's biggest football club, making that criticism. And, of course, Turkey's president is controversial here, with many accusing him of adhering to anti-democratic principles, but certainly raises larger issues. There's over 3 million people of Turkish descent in Germany, and many wonder just how much support they have from Germans after seeing one of their most famous people sort of leave the stage in a bit of an ugly way like this.
All right, shifting focus to West Asia now. At least 422 people, including members of Syria's White Helmets civil defense group, have been evacuated from southwestern Syria to Jordan. The Israeli military said that overnight it had completed a humanitarian effort to rescue members of the Syrian civil organization and their families due to an immediate threat to their lives, where Damascus's forces are advancing against the rebels. Israeli security forces closed down roads in the occupied Golan Heights on the Syrian frontier ahead of the evacuation operation. A Jordanian foreign ministry spokesperson said that Jordan had allowed the United Nations to arrange the entry and passage of at least 422 Syrian civil defense workers. Their lives were in danger after a government offensive that regained rebel-held parts of southern Syria. The Syrian civil defense is known by their distinctive white helmets. The group has operated a rescue service in rebel-held parts of Syria after aerial bombing of civilian areas. They are credited with saving thousands of lives. But Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his backers, including Russia, have dismissed them as Western-sponsored propaganda tools and proxies of Islamist-led insurgents. All right, so we'll stay on this story for the moment. We'll get all the latest reports from the ground in Jordan from our West Asia Bureau Chief Daniele Pagani in a bit. But just to bring our viewers up to speed with this story we're tracking here on WION Dispatch, at least 422 people, including members of Syria's White Helmets civil defense group, have been evacuated from southwestern Syria into Jordan. Now, the Israeli military said that overnight it had completed a humanitarian effort to rescue members of the Syrian civil organization and their families due to an immediate threat to their lives, where Damascus's forces are advancing against the rebels. All right, I'm told Daniele is finally with us. Daniele, good evening. Thank you for joining us on WION Dispatch. Now, what are the White Helmets all about? I mean, there are conflicting theories about their provenance. Some say they are humanitarian helpers, but the government of Syria says they are proxies for the jihadis.
Good evening to you, Ramesh, and good evening to all our viewers. Well, we can say that perhaps the White Helmet is the most talked about organization when it comes to the Syria civil war. They were funded by a former British Special Forces, with funds coming majorly from the United States and from some consultancy agencies operating in the field of security, private security, security of enterprises. Who are they? They are Syrian citizens who did operate within rebel-held areas. So these must be very clear. They did not operate under the control of President Bashar al-Assad. They are called the Syrian Civil Defense, but they are not a government body. They are a separated body which operated within rebel-held areas. Rebels is a term that we often use to describe what also are jihadi armed groups in Syria fighting against President Bashar al-Assad. The galaxy of the jihadi groups is very much diversified, and some of them are very, very much extreme and even close to ideology, like the Al-Qaeda's ideology or the Islamic State. So they run immediately after an airstrike, the white helmets, in order to rescue all the people who may be buried underneath the rubble, and they try to save their life immediately. They've been President Bashar al-Assad accuses them of being terrorists because they operate in rebel-held areas. And yes, they do have to come to terms with jihadi armed groups in order to gain access to the airstrike sites.
Now, Daniel, this was a complex operation, wasn't it? It involved the US, the UN, Israel, Jordan, the UK, Canada, Germany. It was a big operation conducted overnight.
Yes, indeed. This is really a unique operation. Israel decided to let Syrian citizens in from one of the contested borders, the occupied Golan Heights, in order to allow them to get transferred to Jordan. Jordan, which is not opening the borders for tens of thousands of refugees in the southern part of Syria, decided to open the border for the families of the white helmets and the white helmets, because there were signed agreements, particularly with Canada and with some European countries, in order, within 3 months, to relocate these white helmets in those Western countries. So, yes, it is an incredible operation. It's a tremendous international effort to save lives of people who would have been 100% brutally killed or persecuted should have the Syrian army entered the enclaves where they were in. There are still some of them trapped in an area which is under control of a group affiliated with the Islamic State. It's not possible to evacuate these people as of now.
Right. Daniele Pagani in Amman, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dozens of people have died and thousands hospitalized across Japan as the country continues to swelter under scorching summer temperatures. On Saturday alone, 9 people were killed due to the heat wave. According to reports, between 9 and 15th July, more than 9,000 people needed medical assistance due to the record heat, and 12 people lost their lives. In Osaka, the highest temperature has been well above 35 degrees Celsius for more than a week now. Japan's meteorological agency has forecast high temperatures exceeding 35 degrees Celsius for most of Honshu, Shikoku and Kyushu islands. Japan's education department has ordered schools to take necessary measures and avoid outdoor activities during hot days to protect students from heat strokes. According to the Met Department, the heat wave is likely to continue for the remaining days of July and the first few days of August as well.
暑くなかったイメージなんですけど、今年はすごい暑くて、なんやろ、ずっと室外機の前にいるような感じで、結構なんやろ、買い物行くのとかも結構嫌になる。傘さしたり、あとやっぱ飲み物をこまめに飲んだりとか、でもやっぱりちょっと意識低いと思うんで、友達がこの間熱中症になったっていうのを聞いて、でやっぱ身近で起こるんやなと思ったんで、ちょっと対策していかないとなと思ったところなんです。
僕も1回熱中症になったんですよ。ほんまにしんどかって、だからほんまにやばいなと思って朝足元なんかクラクラしだして、あ、もうこれ来るわみたいな、もうこれ絶対倒れるわ思って、その後もうクラって。
The heat wave has raised concerns about how Tokyo will deal with the heat during the 2020 Summer Games. Construction for the new Olympic Stadium has entered its 20th month, and the stadium is expected to be completed by November of next year. The Japan Sport Council says that solutions for tackling heat will be a priority for the Olympic Games scheduled in Tokyo in 2 years' time during the height of summer. While beams for the stadium's inner roof are meant to project warmth and hospitality, they have also been designed and arranged to circulate air from surrounding wind to keep the spectators cool. The music's fans will also be installed in the stadium.